Cool. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the world, and a random word that's popped into my mind is community. So I often feel like there's so much going on in the world, and a lot of the responsibility to, solve this or sort it out is put upon like my generation, like the Gen Zs, potentially like the millennials, maybe even the generation below me, even though they're pretty young. So a lot of the responsibility is put on us to kind of, figure out solutions, because at the end of the day, like, it's the world that we're going to live in. Like, all these issues that kind of have recurring themes, which are like, conflict, wars, pollution, environment, factory farming, being disconnected from, source and nature, and, being kind of persuaded by the senses and temptation and devilish, sinful behavior and short-term pleasure. Yeah, all these things kind of are on my mind at the moment, and I suppose that we can solve things and we can create meaningful changes in the world if we please, by banding together. Doesn't necessarily mean physically. Like, I think it would be nice and interesting to live in communities in the future where the people around you share similar values, goals, aspirations, things like that. But I think we need to come together as a community to share ideas and to lift up one another and to have a perspective or an attitude of give and take. Now, this is actually an interesting kind of story. When me and my missus were dating, in the early stages, it might have been like our first or like one of our first like official dates. We were like initially like good friends, and it kind of like grew organically. But anyways, when we were on this date, we were at a restaurant, and on the table right next to us, there was like a really old couple. I'm assuming they would have been in their like late or maybe early 90s or 80s, to be honest. They were quite old. And, me and my partner, we asked this couple, or more so like the husband in this relationship, because he was more of the talkative, sharp kind of character at that stage, and his wife was more, older and a bit more dull. So we asked him what was one piece of advice that he would share with us, so that we can have like a long, successful relationship like him. And he said 3 simple words, and those words were give and take. Now, I think that advice has been really helpful. I was actually talking to my missus about it yesterday, and reminiscing about how that was pretty legendary advice, and I've actually applied it a lot in our relationship. And yeah, the moments where I've applied it are especially when, one of us is emotionally unstable, maybe a bit, sad or anxious or overwhelmed by something, which, to be honest, is a pretty frequent occurrence. I don't think it's just isolated to me and my relationship, but it's probably something that a lot of us face. But yeah, when one of us is, the way I like to say is when one of us is out of equilibrium, I think it's good for the other to attempt to the best of their ability, to stay grounded. And that's where the concept of give and take comes. When someone needs to take more, demands more attention, demands more energy of you, you have to be willing to give, and vice versa. When you are in situations where you are just so overwhelmed, I think it is probably a very good idea to be selfish in that moment. And I think being selfish is probably the most selfless thing you can do in that moment, because if you take, someone else's love or energy, or demand someone else's attention just for that brief moment so that you can reach equilibrium once again, then you'll be back to your, authentic, grounded self, and you can provide that value to other people. So how this comes into play with the community aspect of things is that I think we need to be more willing to give and take with others. And I have kind of been embodying the values of, giving and taking, not only with, friends or family, or, that small group of circle that you kind of include in your space of like love and compassion, but kind of trying to extend that to everyone, whether it's like colleagues or friends at the gym or strangers or things like that. I think that, the next stage of our evolution involves us embodying sort of like a universal family attitude, and kind of realizing that yes, we are all extremely different, whether it's like lifestyle, physicality, diet, values, everything of us is so different, goals. But I think it will be really good for us to start looking at everything almost like an organism. Like we humans collectively are like one big organism, and each human being is like the cell. And something that I kind of like to contemplate is how the macro reflects the micro. So just like we have cells in our body, we're almost like cells inhabiting, another organism, which I would call Mother Earth, right? So we're inhabiting Earth, and we're all like little individual cells. And each cell, just like the cells in your body, has their own function. Now, some of them, like in our body, they're responsible for carrying things, transporting things in the body, or synthesizing chemicals, or, stimulating the adrenal glands, or whatever it is. Sorry, my video just got cut off there. But yeah, we have cells, all sorts of functions in the body. Likewise, the humans, which are also a metaphorical cell, also have different functions. And if we were all the freaking same, like, doing the same shit, if we didn't have people who were, fucking doctors and chemists and sales representatives and bankers and farmers and fucking mushroom planters, like, we would be lacking so much. And I don't think people realize that everything in a sense is connected, and the person who you think is doing, a job that is so completely irrelevant to you, or maybe you frown upon, or maybe you think doesn't carry any significance, might in some sense, in a way that you might not be able to comprehend right now, is still contributing to the whole and is still a contributing member to society. So I guess in summary, in summary, I just wanted to emphasize the value of give and take and community, and how, we can all just spend our time helping one another, resting when we need to rest, taking, and then coexisting in a way that is fun, so that this, this blip in our existence on this planet doesn't have to be so miserable, and doesn't have to be, like machinery, because that's how I feel like, the mechanical machine mind has kind of dominated our culture. It's essentially made it so that there are all these systems or corporations, and we are typically required to conform to the rules and ideas and structure of that corporation, work rigid hours from 9 to 5 or whenever it is, and just, you know, become another cog in this mechanical machine, when in fact we are organic beings. We respond to the cycles of nature, even though, you know, we might feel very disconnected from the sun and the moon and the water and all of that. We're still all connected to it, because our essence, or our organic body, has been made by these elements. And yeah, I'm just hopeful that, you know, one day, or in the near future, and I think it is happening, we start returning to nature, we start forming communities, we have fulfilling friendships where we can give and take, and yeah, our existence can be pleasant and joyful and doesn't have to be so rigid, which I feel like it is. I'm quite, you know, grateful right now. Like, my work situation is pretty relaxed. I work in a startup, like a tech startup. It's pretty relaxed, no real like micromanaging whatsoever. And I work from home most of the week, 3 days a week. But yeah, this is my video. Just trying to get in the hang of creating videos. And yeah, that's about it from my side. Hope you're all well. If anyone ever sees this video, please leave a comment, because I will feel very happy reading the comments. Or who knows, this video might just disappear into oblivion and only I'll have this memory of this video. But in a way, you know, I'm kind of creating a portal right now, looking into the camera and just envisioning someone else, which is you, potentially listening to this video. And who knows, maybe this video to me that I've made feels like nothing. Like, maybe I feel like I haven't contributed anything, which I actually sort of feel like I haven't done much with this video. But maybe for you, it's helped you out in some way, or it's helped you, you know, sort of navigate some conflict that you might have currently in your phase of life. Maybe you're watching this 1 year in the future, 10 years in the future, 5 months in the future, whatever it is. But yeah, leave a comment, and I like to chat about this stuff, like philosophy, or not philosophy at large, but more so like non-duality, some kinds of philosophy, health, wellness, abundance, wealth, psychology, things like that. Anyways, take care.